web extensions, good first bug fixes. We've had a lot of contributions to AMO and of course our awesome reviewer squad. Thanks so much for helping make sure that AMO stays safe and appropriate for everyone. Okay, so for our updates, so I wanted to let everyone in the community know that we are, hey Mike, so I wanted to let folks know that we are doing something that's new to me, but not new to Mozilla. So we are going to be partnering with some students at the University of Bristol in England. They're second-year software engineering students, and one of their courses is to work on a real-life software engineering project. So we submitted a proposal and it was accepted. So we have a handful of students who are going to be working on a middleware API for cloud storage providers. So right now with the current web extensions API, you can't hook into cloud storage providers because their API is separate and not compatible with us. So we're hoping that what these students can do is develop something that will hopefully be cross-browser compatible that can hook into the big three cloud storage providers, which is Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox, and oh gosh, Google Drive. Yeah. So we're in the process of scheduling an initial kickoff meeting with them this week. We had a similar project, though not from my team, but last year we had a group of students from Michigan State land a lot of the dark theme API. And they were mentored by Tim Nguyen. Tim was actually the one who suggested that we reach out to University of Bristol because Tim just went through this course last year. And they were very successful. So we're hoping to emulate that and grow our community a little bit more, get some more folks working on some stuff to expand the web extensions API. So that's going to be going on. I'm excited. Rob and Luca are going to be mentoring this project. David and Mike have provided some great advice for that. So I'm excited to share this. I think this will be really, really interesting. The second thing I wanted to give an update about is our developer Launchpad. I'm not sure if I shared the name at our last meeting, but the name has changed. It is now the Extension Workshop. So I'm going to be trying to transition and calling it the Extension Workshop. So we had around, so we just completed our second wireframe round and we had some users test it out last week. I was out on PTO when some of these results were handed in. So I'm wondering, Mike, if I can turn it over to you to give a summary of how people found the Launchpad the workshop and kind of what the next steps are.
So I think we're going to start a swear jar, but it's 25 cents every time you say Launchpad.
I think you're right.
No, the testing went really good. We ran 8 randomly selected people that were screened from usertesting.com through our user researcher, Jennifer. All 8 liked the Launchpad, 25 cents. The main feedback was for experienced extension developers, it provided too much introductory material. On the other hand, we are also aiming it for just plain old web developers, people who develop websites, are familiar with JavaScript, CSS, HTML5, and those people have found it pretty useful. So I think we're going to kind of keep it somewhere in the middle with some introductory material and then some meat about halfway through that kind of talks about the anatomy of an extension, introduces you to some examples, and really just gets you started. From a, I'm going to put it in quotes, Launchpad point of view, the idea of getting somebody launched and started into an extension development, it seemed to satisfy pretty much all the people that went through it. Nobody had any major issues with it other than it looked, you probably didn't hear this, Caitlin, it looked so good that people are like, what's the catch? How much does this cost? It seems like you're trying to sell me something and get me to sign up for something, which we are, but people are so cynical and jaded about what's on the web these days. They couldn't believe it was free and were wondering what the catch was and what email did I have to provide and how much of my private data did I have to give up to be part of this. So we're going to try to work a way for saying, hey, we're Mozilla. We don't charge you and we don't need any of your private data. You can do this for free. So that was kind of an interesting finding. But the design firm this week is working on a final mock-up that should be available by Friday, and then they're going to actually go into the build phase of it and should be ready to launch sometime by the end of November.
Okay, awesome. Oh, okay. That's really cool. So, Sylvan, I know that I shared that one of those wireframes with you, and thank you so much for your feedback. Sylvan had some really good feedback about like tools and like linking to the templatizer, where you can just kind of like plug and play. I think that was a good idea. That didn't make it into this last round of feedbacks. We are going to have, this is going to send folks to a page that has other tools. So I think we can probably keep it there and then see about moving it onto the front page. I think right now my concerns with the templatizers is that they haven't gone through any sort of like legal review. Like I think a couple of folks have checked them out at this time, but with stuff like extension tests, that all had to go through a review that was like higher than me. So I might take that as a to-do action then to see if I can get some sign off on that so we can, promote it a little bit more. Shivam, I know you worked really, really closely with Trishul on that, on the one templatizer, which was really awesome. And I know people had a really good experience with that. So we'll see if we can get kind of the official sign off and blessing on it. And Shivam, I don't think I shared a mock-up with you, but when we get the final mock in a couple of days, I can send you a link for that so you can take a look at it too, because I know that you were interested in this project. But yeah, so this will be good. This will be exciting. Thanks, Mike, for sharing that.
Sure.
Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about that kind of ties into the extension workshop is documentation updates. So we started putting together some documentation for techniques for creating cross-browser extensions, and this was inspired by the Grammarly devs who last year published a really, really excellent and detailed blog post about their process for building and deploying Grammarly across a couple of different browsers. So we wanted to have some official documentation that we could point people to on MDN. One thing that we've kind of run into is that those of us sitting here are not necessarily the best experts on this because we haven't actually been building extensions and supporting them across multiple browsers with the intention of like actually supporting users. So right now there's a call out for folks who have experience with that to review the draft documentation and to provide feedback. Sylvan, I saw that you left some comments. Thank you so much for taking a look at that. Really appreciate it. So I just wanted to announce on this call that we are soliciting feedback on this and to please get in touch with me if this is something that you would like to review before we publish it. I've heard one other friend in the community who runs a couple of like high user tab management extensions on Firefox and Chrome. So he's going to be taking a look, but a couple other folks taking a look would certainly be appreciated. So I can put a link into this document so folks can take a look at the draft. I've restricted the access to it to comments only. So if there's any, so you won't be able to directly edit the document, but you will be able to add comments on anything that you want to give feedback on. Yeah. Sylvan, did you have any comments that you wanted to share about the document? I know you took a look, just curious since you took a look at it.
Yeah, I took a quick look. Everything, the big pieces seems to be all there. It's talking about polyfill, talking about the main difference with the manifest, the tools for packaging. I've added a note regarding the incoming changes for Manifest v3 with Google Chrome. We don't have a lot of information regarding this, but it's still something that we need to keep in mind because this will change as well. Besides that, no, the big pieces are there. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. That is super good to hear. I'm glad. I'm glad that was helpful. Yeah, and then I also just wanted to open up requests for other documentation. We've got our documentation contractor with us through January, and it looks like we'll be extending him into next year. So I just wanted to let folks in the community know that if there's something that some documentation that you think either needs to be created or needs to be updated, definitely open ears for that. So just let us know if there's anything that you'd like to see, and we can work with the contractor to take a look at that. Yeah, and no one's on the spot for having to come up with something right now. You can totally just message us at any time. That's totally fine. Cool. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about was Firefox Color. So Firefox Color, I think we've talked about this in previous meetings. So everybody knows that Personas Plus, which has been kind of our awesome extension that helps theme designers do cool themey stuff, is being retired with the change to themes being static themes. So we're trying to build out some features into Firefox Color right now that'll be comparable to some of the features, most popular features that we had on Personas Plus. So we've asked a couple of our theme designers to take a look at it, and they've given us some really great feedback. I also just wanted to open that up to the rest of the community. If you want to, especially heavy theme designers or folks who want an easy way to preview themes or custom, do theme customization, if they want to go ahead and take a look at Firefox Color and give us some feedback about what the experience is, and particularly anything that kind of sticks out as being janky or suboptimal, that would be really helpful for us as we move forward. I'm gonna let let me just double check the notes really quickly and see how much we've talked about this in a previous week. But because I think that we may have a couple of small updates. Yeah,
I just dropped links to both Firefox Color and its GitHub repository into the notes if people are interested in trying it out and or submitting issues on it.
Perfect. Yeah, Jorge, I think maybe you can double check this, but and Mike, I don't think that anything has really changed since we spoke 2 weeks ago. So it looks like Color is still not available on AMO.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's still not available on AMO, and you can upload background images now, which I think was also true 2 weeks ago. But some of the other stuff that we were looking at implementing, like the ability to export images, like export themes that you've created into an XPI file, or save the image and then re-upload to AMO for distribution, that hasn't really happened yet. That hasn't happened yet. Not that it really hasn't happened. It hasn't. So yeah. So yeah, we'll continue working on that. And hopefully we'll have some more updates about that soon. Yeah. So those were my big updates. Jorge and Mike, did you have anything that you wanted to share out today?
I was going to mention the extension workshop, but you already covered it in the notes and talked a little bit about it, so I'm good, I think.
Okay.
We can talk about the Q1 plan if you want to.
Heck yeah, let's talk about the Q1 plan.
Since Caitlin and Mike have only heard about it like 7 times. Let me share my screen just a sec. there we go. Eventually. Black screen. Yeah, there we go. So we're only starting to work on our plan for Q1 for next year. We're already underway with what we set out to do for Q4. So we just started planning for Q1. So this is all very early stages. These are projects that are being developed right now, and developed in the sense of that we're planning them and figuring out all the dependencies and all that, the scope of the projects. And the other note is that this is more than what we can do in one quarter. I expect like at some point during this quarter, during the planning, certain things are going to drop off just because there's not enough done for them to get started in Q1. So very quickly, the big things that we want to work on in Q1 are the homepage, the add-on product page, which you might also know as a listing page, and also the submission flow. Those are the largest projects that we are planning to work on. The submission flow we're going to split in two, and the work in Q1 is mostly going to be at the API level. So there are not going to be a lot of visible changes by the end of Q1. For the homepage and the product page, we do expect to deliver new versions of those by the end of Q1. And yeah, other than that, there is a little bit of work on this scope pane, on the discovery pane, which is what you see in the add-ons manager when you click on the find add-ons, I think, pane. And the rest are mostly backend kind of things, improving SEO. There's some work on reviewer tools. One of them that might be interesting for viewers is the delayed review rejections project. It is a secondary goal for this quarter, but it's probably unlikely to be done this quarter. So it's already part of the plan for Q1 as a primary goal. And the idea there is that instead of immediately disabling files when they are rejected, we would disable them after a time period. So developers would get a warning saying, you need to fix this, or your file is going to be disabled in 2 weeks or something like that. So that will give developers some time to work on their issues and fix them before the rejection actually is applied. So we think that's going to give them a much better experience when dealing with reviews in the post-review world.
Question regarding the delayed review. Is it something that you guys, admins, can override? If it's a malware or something? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it would necessarily be like if it was malware or if it was something really terrible that really needed to come down, I think we would still want to make sure that you have the ability to just pull it when you see it. But for minor issues, for stuff that really somebody can fix them and it's going to be okay. I think we just wanted to make it a little bit gentler for developers.
Yep, and yeah, that pretty much covers the plan in broad strokes. There's still a lot of work to do to figure out what actually is going to happen in Q1, but the next 2 months is when we're going to be refining all of this and coming up with the final plan.
Final question regarding the change on review tools. Are those changes on AIM will be copied over to Thunderbird?
That is up to them. They can cherry pick those changes and apply them to their tools. And I think that at least the rejection, the delayed rejection changes, those are portable. The other project, the file and diff review tools, those are being thought out more for web extensions, so it's probably not going to be useful to port.
Thanks.
That's a good question. Yeah, how's it going over with Thunderbird?
It's going great. Compared, the queues are better than on AMO for sure. There's a lot less extensions to review. But yeah, we're starting to have a couple of meetings. We want to do stuff that AMO is doing. No, it's going great.
Okay. Okay. That's good to hear. It's definitely good to hear. Cool. Sorry, I'm just writing a note while I still have it fresh in my mind. So yeah, at this time I'd like to open up the floor for any questions or anything else anyone would like to discuss. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to follow up and we'll do our best to help you out, and have a great Wednesday. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.